Rule, our tech segment every week. Good morning, Larry.
Morning, guys. How are you?
Morning.
Let's start with Star Wars since...
Okay. We can start with Star Wars.
Let's start with Star Wars.
Basically, one of the neatest stories that I saw this week in technology came out of the University of Southern California. And they have an advanced technology lab. And they've created what they're calling an auto multiscopic 3D display.
Exactly.
Which is a mouthful.
Yes.
So, but realistically, what it is, for those, especially those listening on the radio right now, it's exactly like the hologram that was used in Star Wars when R2-D2, you know, Luke's cleaning him there on Tatooine. All of a sudden,
in the first one.
In the first one, there's Princess Leia, help me, Obi-Wan Kenobi, you're my only hope, a little hologram.
Right.
And they've since used the same sort of hologram technology in all the Star Wars, where they show a blue figure.
Okay.
And so this has been kind of like a geeky goal, I think, of a lot of nerds like myself to create this holographic technology.
I want you to say that, Larry. You said that about yourself.
Oh, absolutely,
right?
Absolutely.
Okay.
I'm a proud geek.
Okay.
So basically, the University of Southern California has created this. So they've created an array. They've made an array of projectors, very small projectors, about 200 or 300 projectors, and then they've filmed individuals from about 200 or 300 angles, if you think about it that way.
Okay.
And then they shoot all of these projectors into one space.
Okay.
And then what's crazy about it, they have a specific bit of film that it's hitting. It looks like a life-size, real human sitting there in front of you. And then you can literally walk to the side, and you're seeing the side of them, and you walk to the front. It's like a perfect 3D movie without having to wear glasses, without having to wear anything, and everyone could see it at once. For example, if I'm standing to the left of the figure, I see the left. If you're standing to the right, you see the right. It's a true hologram. And what's really, really neat about this tech is that to test it, in order to kind of prove the point, what they're doing is the University of Southern California has been reaching out to Holocaust survivors, and which there aren't very many left.
Right.
And what they've been doing is having them tell their stories, tell them firsthand accounts, and answer every possible question they could possibly answer. One of them has this gentleman here that's on the stream has answered about 80 hours worth of questions, and they've asked him the same types of questions every way. And what they're actually doing is they're going to create almost like an artificial intelligence, like a little AI or like a program that, imagine in 100 years, our grandchildren or great-grandchildren,
they'll be able to ask this man a question, and he'll be able to answer it.
And put together answers on the fly, so they can get firsthand accounts of how the Holocaust was, even 100 or 200 or 300 years down the line.
Goodness,
which is a phenomenal use of the technology.
Wow, that is pretty cool.
Because it's a lot more empathetic instead of watching a screen when you're seeing the emotion and seeing someone's face just like they're sitting in front of you.
That
incredible.
That is crazy. All right, that's one. What's Nintendo is now in my Apple Watch?
Yeah. Well, they're definitely in your Apple devices. The Apple big iOS launch was this week, where they talked about the new iPhone 7 and 7S, and that's been all over the news. So we won't necessarily talk about that, but one thing I thought was interesting from it was the partnership with Nintendo. So Nintendo, of course, been around making video games forever, since the 80s, but they recently have been kind of falling in market share to Microsoft, to Sony's PlayStation.
Right.
And basically what we found is that people love to play their games that they make, like Mario, Zelda, the traditional classic sort of games.
Right.
But they're making them all for their consoles, which no one really wants to buy.
Yeah.
And so by partnering with Apple, they're actually going to make Mario games and things like that directly for your Apple devices, which I think is brilliant both for Apple, who's trying to get into the gaming space, and for Nintendo for survival.
Yes. Which is interesting is that, so Apple stock yesterday goes down after announcing the iPhone 7.
Well, did you watch the event?
I did not.
It was very lackluster.
Really?
And I think that a lot of the expectations, there weren't a lot of surprises, and so a lot of that was baked into the stock price. And so it was kind of just like, you know what I mean? It was very meh.
You clearly watched it.
I watched the whole thing.
Yeah,
of course.
Not shocking. But Apple stock goes down. Wells Fargo gets fined $185 million. Their stock goes up yesterday.
Hey, I don't pretend to understand the stock market.
I know, but that Holocaust thing just blew my mind.
Isn't that crazy?
It is.
That just blew my mind.
Well, you can imagine them using the same technology not only for Holocaust survivors, but for anybody, any important person, so that in 100, 200,000 years.
Right. You want to ask President Obama a question or President Bush a question.
Imagine if you had this for Washington, or you had this for name the historic figure. It'd be amazing.
That is pretty cool. Larry Stendebach with First Rule Film and Broadcast right here in University Tower. Larry Stendebach, thanks for coming in.
Thanks, guys.
Have a good weekend. That was really good. 7:56.